Get your copy of The Church Girl by acclaimed author Stephanie Seaton. This compelling story follows a young woman's journey of redemption through faith and community after straying from the path of righteousness. Rediscover her purpose and meaning in life. Available now on popular online book sites. Don't miss out on The Church Girl, a transformative tale resonating with the power of faith and self-discovery.
Thank you for tuning in. A live stream new episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show will be starting soon. With your host, minister, and author Stephanie M. Seaton.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Woo! Tonight, we have an amazing guest. We have author Tashonda Robinson with us tonight. Welcome to the platform. How are you?
I am well, beautiful. How are you? Happy Tuesday.
I know. Happy Tuesday. I am doing well as well. You have such a beautiful smile. You just made me come alive. Listen, it was such a pleasure to meet you a couple of weeks ago. It's almost been a month now, huh?
Ditto. Yes.
Yeah, it went by really fast, but it's actually almost been a month. We had the pleasure of being at the Doc Bookstore. We're both authors with the Doc Bookstore. And we met at the Spring Fling, which is a really big event for the Doc Bookstore. And we were both speakers on several panels, actually. And we actually had the opportunity to not only sell our books, but to do autographs and be able to take pictures and promotions. And so it was very nice to meet you. We got us some nice pictures on the carpet. And so, it's always nice to have networking opportunity where we can, get with each other after the events and kind of talk about what you have going on, catch up, and then just, share different types of information that may be helpful for each other as well. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on. Today, we're going to be talking about her two amazing projects she's got going on right now. She's actually the author of 2 books. She's going to tell us the inspiration behind those books, as well as different things like working in children's childcare, social work, psychology, just being a difference maker in the community, and that in itself is a wonderful thing. So I want to ask you, and I know you've watched several episodes because you've been in the comments on a couple of them. So my first question is tell us, who is Tashonda? Please just let us know who are you? And I know so many people are probably going to be following you after this interview. They're going to be looking for your books. And so just give us some insight. Who are you? What do you want us to know?
Well, I want to backtrack a little bit because we did meet at the Spring Fling. And on that day, I was super nervous. And you embraced me. And I want to say thank you so much because the world needs more people like you. I know that I can be a light at times, but I was just so overjoyed that there was someone that was willing to embrace me and accept me, a new author on your platform. And so I just want to say thank you. But moving forward a little bit.
I appreciate that.
Yes, Miss Seaton. Thank you so much for embracing me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
So in reference
Talk
to
about you,
Tashonda,
lady. Talk about you. Stop. Don't make me all mushy. Talk about yourself.
well, Tashonda Robinson. Um, so I am a visionary. I'm a visionary. I love people.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a people person. I love to help others. I love to. I'm a child advocate.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I love to be the voice of the voiceless. Um,
Hmm.
there's so
We share
many.
that.
I'm an author.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
mother. I'm a bereaved mother. I'm also a widow.
Hmm.
So there
Yeah.
are many, many layers to Shonda Robinson.
Yeah. Um, I think, just in kind of reading your bio and just kind of watching, just taking notice of you at the event, you seem to be a very loving and caring person. You were very down to earth, which made it easy to talk to you, because you were so down to earth and real. I like real people. So it was really easy to talk to you. It's not hard to connect with people that are real. You can have one or two conversations and it's just like you've been knowing each other. um and so I felt that when we met that you were a very genuine person. I had no idea about your life story and the things that you've endured and went through, and I know some of those are kind of fresh for you. But I think it's amazing that, and I'm me myself, I found healing in my writing. I've went through a lot of different traumas in life, and I've actually found that writing and being able to get those thoughts on paper has been very healing for me. Has that been something that has helped you through the process of grief?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm.
In fact, the book that I wrote, The Adventures of Poppy Millie and Chico, it was like shortly after the loss of my son. Um,
Okay.
and I found it very therapeutic. Yes, ma'am. It was very therapeutic to
Yeah.
release
Yes.
those those feelings
Yeah.
onto paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, at that time, journaling was actually something that helped me. I initially started like journaling. I would just journal my feelings,
Mhm.
journal my thoughts, because shortly after his services and everything, I had to, and I know this may be a little bit much, but I had to have a major surgery. And I was also like suffering from the loss of a husband and then the loss of a son. And now having to have,
Surgery.
surgery. And then that put me out of commission for 2 months. And
Yeah.
during that period, like it was just
You had,
journaling.
you had a lot of time on your hands.
Hmm. Yes,
So
ma'am.
what did you do with that time?
Journal and write. Just journal and write.
That's when the inspiration kind of kicked in.
Yes, ma'am. It was therapy. Again, I'm not from North Texas. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, and so I was
Yeah.
not around my family, and so of course, I have my immediate family, like my twins, but I didn't really have a huge, um, you know, set of people that I could depend on. I had to again journal my thoughts to express myself, and that was very therapeutic at the time.
Yeah. Um, I'm glad that you saw the light, at the end of the tunnel. I just put that phrase up there. I know that is a phrase. Light shine while helping others out of darkness. I saw that, and I thought that's an amazing phrase, quote. And so right in the midst of what you were doing, going through your surgery, going through your grief, whatever emotions that you felt in that moment, the Lord still enabled you to be able to think big picture, and think about the people that will come after you. So I think that that was very brave of you to not only do the journaling, but to decide to share it, because a lot of times people are not willing to be transparent, Tashonda. They keep things to themselves, you know. And the reality of the situation is we all go through something, you know. Yours may be this, mine may be that, but I truly believe that the Lord allows us to go through things, not so we can keep it to ourselves, but so that we can minister and talk to other people, because he gives us strength in the midst of those situations. And somebody's going to go through it, and they're going to need to know that, you know what, I might not have felt like getting out of my bed. I might not have felt like this or that. Maybe I wanted to throw the towel in, but God, you know,
But God,
because your situation wasn't just, yeah, it wasn't just a one-stop shop situation. You lost your husband, you lost your son, and now you've had surgery, so you got to sit there and think about all this stuff because you got time on your hands, you know.
yeah.
But that's what God will do. Sometimes we won't sit down to grieve, to write, to do whatever he's asked us to do, right? And so, and I'm
Right.
talking to myself too, trust me. But sometimes he knows it, not sometimes, he always knows exactly what to do to get us, you know, in the place that we need to be, you know, to do the thing that he has us to do. So tell us a little bit about both of your books. I know you have the children's book, which you mentioned the title of it. Tell us the title again, and kind of tell us a little bit about the character. What's the storyline? And then tell us about your other book as well, so that we know where to get them and kind of know the storyline.
So, in reference to the books, the only book I have one book, and that's The Adventures of Poppy, Millie, and Chico. I'm gonna speak to this book in a minute, but I don't have another book yet. I have two journals, and
Well, that's
initially,
what I meant, because I saw your journals. That's what I'm sorry. I said books, but yeah,
yes,
but
okay.
yes, your
So
journals.
initially, this was my like my therapy. This was my therapist, and
Okay.
it's titled Self Care Matters, because at that
Yes.
time the only thing that I could think about was staying alive. Just to be
Yeah,
honest with
I
you,
get it.
staying alive, because
I
there
get
were
it.
voices. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it. There were voices after losing
Yeah.
my husband saying to
Yeah.
swallow a bottle of pills, and after losing my son,
Yeah.
I mentioned the fact that I had to take off of work for 2 months,
Yeah.
without an additional income, without a huge
Yeah.
salary or
Mhm.
stipend to send
But
away.
God. Yeah.
So I had to, I would do Uber to
Mhm.
assist with the additional,
Income. Mm.
income and responsibilities. And so at
Yeah.
that time, there were voices saying to just drive into traffic. So
Oh,
I
I
know
get it.
that in
Mm.
the slogan is really, I don't know how it got like misconstrued, but it's really let your light shine while helping others out of darkness. And so you see it says light shine while, but it's really let your
Okay.
light shine.
Oh,
So it's
let your light shine. Okay. Okay. Let your light shine. Okay.
and
Very good.
I'll talk
I love that.
a bit more about this one, but this is where illuminate sort of were well came into play and was birthed. But a little bit more in terms of the book, The Adventures of Poppy, Millie, and Chico. So at the time of the loss, um, again, I stated at the spring fling event that there was a friend of the family, and it was my daughter's friend,
Okay.
and her aunt suffered from dementia. So she had two
Okay.
puppies that she had to like, either send off to for adoption, or just find a family member or a friend that would be willing to take the dogs. And so, of course,
Right.
you don't know, but I've always been afraid of dogs. So this is like so ironic
Okay.
because okay, growing up, our family did have dogs, but I was still afraid, right? But
I get it.
at that time, like of suffering through so much or enduring so much pain, when the family wanted to like relieve themselves and um herself of the responsibility and just look for a home for the dog, I was like, why not? At first I was opposed to it, but then I'm like, okay, why not? I'll take the dog.
Yeah,
And I found that like the dog Poppy, we named him Poppy.
yeah,
He was so loving. And I
yeah,
understand now why they say that a dog is a man's best friend. And
yeah.
it's really like they love you unconditionally. They
In
love you
spite of
without,
they
yeah,
follow you. Yeah,
they
yeah,
love you without purpose. They love you unconditionally. And at that
yeah.
time, I truly needed unconditional love. And so,
Mm.
yeah, it's again the story when I talk to my family and I'm like, we have a dog, and they're like, that's not true. you
They're
you
like,
have
that's it's a miracle, right? It's a
dogs?
miracle.
No, yes,
Wait,
ma'am.
Tashonda, there is a God, right?
And so they're still shocked
Yeah,
about the fact that I have a dog. And so the
yeah,
book, The Adventures of Poppy, Millie, and Chico, was inspired by Poppy. Okay.
yeah,
And since we had the opportunity of adopting him and like you naming him and giving him the entire like a family setting, and so it that's what inspired the book The Adventures of Poppy, Millie, and Chico.
that's a
And can I
blessing.
go on a little bit more?
What's that?
Can I share a little bit more about the book?
We've got a whole hour. You can share everything.
And
Yes,
so,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
okay,
Please.
so the book was all about, okay, so while being down and having all of that downtime and um
Hmm.
having the loss of a kid and just everything that was just happening at that time, I I've always I've always written, I've always
Yeah,
journaled, and I've always like imagined being an author, but
yeah,
never really like took that leap of faith.
yeah,
And like shortly after like experiencing all of that and having so much time on my hands, I'm like, well, why not write a book? Like I'm gonna write a book and I'm gonna honor it
yeah,
in honor of my son's life. But I'm not gonna speak
yeah,
about I'm gonna let the character be a little bit about my son, but I'm gonna like make it about puppies, like make it about dogs. And
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
inspired The Adventures of Poppy, Millie, and Chico.
yeah. I think that's a blessing. It sounds like that little Poppy coming into your life was part of the healing process as well. And I think that's good. It definitely was a God thing, for you to be fearful of dogs, but yet when the Lord does a thing, right? Even something as simple as you getting a pet, a lot of times we don't see the God in things, but he touched your heart and changed your mind, and that little puppy came in and became, as they say, man's best friend. I could only imagine that, and so I'm so happy for you because your smile is genuine and it's authentic, and you just lit up when you were talking about him. So I think that's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Considering the fact that I was afraid, I still question the most high. I'm like, Lord. But he knows what he's doing, and it's just like, Father, I trust you and I'm here, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So as far as family, how many children do you have?
I have a total of 3 children, and in fact, Millie and
Uh-huh.
Chico are actually the characters of my twins. I
The
have a
other
set of
children.
twins. Yes.
So
So
So all three of the puppies are the personalities of all three of the kids. I love it. I love it.
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Um, so when you originally wrote the book, with it being purpose, behind it, who were you reaching to inspire with the book? What was your target audience for inspiration?
Target audience for inspiration, I would have to say that I was trying to inspire children. I wanted them to, well, one, everyone, because
Okay. Hmm.
um, at that time, I was in such a dark, dark place.
Hmm.
Honestly, I was searching for purpose for myself.
I get it.
And
Yeah.
that book was just to, it gave me purpose. It gave me something to look forward to. And it also like allowed myself and my twins to like bond because
Yeah.
at that time it was like I was reaching out to them for their thoughts, and we spoke up on my son's character. And um in fact, at the end of the book, my baby boy is an artist.
Oh,
I wanted
wow. Okay.
to draw the pictures, but he wouldn't. He was like way too emotional to illustrate the photos. However, I don't know if you
Yeah.
can see it, but he did this um he did this portrait in, I would say, maybe 24 hours. And it was
Oh, wow.
dedicated to his.
Hold it up a little bit higher. Hold it up
Okay.
higher. Okay. Okay. And how old is
So
he?
my twins are 22. He was
22.
21.
Okay.
But yeah, he's well, my boys were very artistic. But again, my son was way too emotional at the time to like do all of the illustrations, but he
Right.
did do
Right.
photos in honor of his brother's life at the time. So I'm
That's
very
a
inspired.
blessing.
I hope
This
to
was like a
inspire.
family project.
Yes,
It was a
yes, many.
it was a family project. That's really good. Lots of purpose and love went into this project, and I think that's amazing. And then you've got the journals. Where can we find your books?
Everything is offered on Amazon. And
Okay.
now that I have that relationship with the Doc Bookshop, they're also offered there. And I'm so inspired and I'm so very grateful. And I do believe
Yeah.
that everything is a divine connection. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was just ironic how I ended up at the Doc Bookshop and how I met them. And then I got involved and I met you. So I'm just so thankful and again inspired.
That's good. That's really good because now you probably have you started your next book yet? Or are you kind of brainstorming or kind of just enjoying the flow of things right now? Where are you at?
It's, I don't know. Like, so on top of starting the book, I also started my own small business. So
Okay.
after the loss of a husband 4 years ago, and then a loss of a son, um, I reflected maybe 6 months ago, and I'm like, Lord, like, I was supposed to graduate college this year,
Okay.
but mentally, I was just not in a good space. And so I'm not going
Okay.
to beat myself up too much in terms of finishing
No.
school. I was not
No.
even
Yeah.
abreast with times at that time.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
but I would say maybe 6 months ago, I reflected and I went back to school. I did a full semester. I'm so proud of myself because I made three A's and one B. And I
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
thank
You
you.
have to give yourself grace. The same grace that you give everybody else. You have to give that to yourself too. And again, I salute you because I know that that's a very brave move to make at this stage in your life. And after the different obstacles and things that you face. So give yourself some grace and
I do.
just celebrate in the moment. And in time you'll be able to complete that. But it's okay if it takes a few more months. Live in the moment. And so yeah, well,
So
very
the next
good. Tell me a
project.
little.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the next project. Okay, so I I want to say that I'm going to challenge myself 6 more months from now to write another children's book, and I titled it The Adventures because I want Poppy, Millie, and Chico to go on many, many, many adventures. So just be on the
Okay.
lookout for them to go on many adventures.
Okay. So a series. Very good. Very good. Okay, so upcoming will be some added additions or to the series. We've got your contact information. You are what platforms are you on?
I am on Instagram, but Instagram I am using on Instagram, excuse me, I am using Marie's or Marie dot S closet with the K Loset. That's on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm just Tashonda Robinson. I'm
Mhm.
also on LinkedIn as Marie's Closet. Uh,
Okay,
and I'm selling the books on Amazon.
okay. So tell me a little bit about Marie's Closet. What is the platform Marie's Closet?
So initially, well, yeah, I've always had the passion to inspire others, and
Okay.
that's where that idea came from. Again, that was also around the time that I was just off and had so much time on my hands. I didn't know what to do with myself. I wanted to
Mhm.
create a clothing and accessories line that would inspire everyone. And that's where the
Yeah.
slogan came from, to like let your light shine while helping others out of darkness. And that's also when I created Illuminate.
Okay.
And
Okay.
let your light shine while helping others out of darkness was way too long, and that's why I found a shorter title and
Many.
titled Illuminate.
Okay, very good, very good. When we come back, we're going to take a short commercial break and show some different ads. When we come back, I want you to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes of working in childcare, social work, psychology, and kind of what that, how that impacted you wanting to appeal to children and to the children's audience. Okay. So we'll be
Yes, ma'am.
right back. We'll just stay tuned here and we're going to show a couple of promotions. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Take my hand and let me hold you close. I'll dry your tears this day. Let me comfort you.
All right. And welcome back. We will be having a upcoming gospel artist, Alexa Curry, will be on the platform coming up here soon. As you saw, this coming Sunday, we will have a live open discussion. And the topic for that live open discussion will be emotional intelligence and coping for men. I had an interview on last night that I did with a gentleman by the name of Carlos Tashonda, and we were talking about how men are not allowed a space to be emotional, to be able to express themselves. From a young age, they're told not to have emotions, not to cry. And so I every 2 weeks, I like to have open discussions on my platform to kind of give people an opportunity to talk about topics that we need to talk about, but nobody wants to talk about them, right? Because
Yes,
there's ministry and there's healing in it.
yes.
We A couple weeks ago we were doing a series on soft girl era slash soft black girl era, and we were talking about some different topics on how women in general, and specifically black women, we deserve to be loved the first time around, softly, and it's not something we should ask for. And so this coming Sunday, that will be the topic: emotional intelligence, and
Wow.
men coping with whatever men are going through. I'm going to have a guest host. Pastor Allen will be here. He will be going over some different things about giving men the freedom and the space to be able to express themselves. How important it is, for men to have that opportunity, as like my guest on last night said as well. He grew up without a father in his house. The guest from last night, and he was saying, he didn't have that outlet, and how it affected him, and it awoke a darker side, and so it's very important. So please, not only just men, but men and women, tune in on Sunday. That will be our open discussion. You'll have the opportunity to comment, to ask questions, to give feedback, and of course, like, tag, and share the interview so that those people that need to see it will be able to see that information. So, welcome back. We're still here. We're interviewing Miss Tashonda today. She is a author. She is still the author of her journals as well. And we have talked about what the inspiration behind the books were, the characters in her books. We talked a little bit about what she's got coming up. Going to be a series to the books. The books are available on Amazon. She is on Instagram. She's also on Facebook, multiple platforms. So please check her out. Check out those books and the journals as well. One of those journals is about self-care. And listen, we all need self-care. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your time in childcare development, psychology, social work, kind of tying all that together. What did that look like, and what was your biggest take on working with children on all those levels?
Oh, wow. It's so ironic that you spoke to and in fact, I tuned in a bit last night and I tuned in on the soft girl era day. And that's
Oh,
true. We do,
good, good.
yeah, like I've been supporting you.
Yeah,
And so
thank
we
you.
don't speak enough on mental health,
Yeah,
self care, um,
yeah.
and what that looks like and what that feels like. And so I would say
Hmm.
roughly around, okay, let me just backtrack a bit. I had my first son at 16. So I was a teen
Okay,
mom. And
okay.
so I oftentimes I relied on those childcare settings to help me out because on top of like having a kid early, I finished school, but I went like immediately into this program that allowed me to learn culinary arts skills, and I became a chef at an early
Oh,
age.
okay.
Yes. So there are many,
Listen,
many
I'm a
layers.
I'm a foodie, so I just lit up because I'm a foodie. Like, Tashonda, not only do I look at my food and want it to be like appealing to the eye, but I smell all my food.
Girl, you would love
So when
it.
you said I just lit up, I was like, ooh.
And so, like, oftentimes I relied on like aftercare programs and childcare programs to
Yeah,
help me because, like
yeah,
working in the food industry,
yeah,
restaurants are open more often or
late.
longer hours,
Yeah,
nights and weekends. And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
some point, my daughter said, "Hey, mom, like you're working way too much. I don't. I mean, the money was good. I was able to provide and blah blah blah, but I didn't have much time with my
The
family,
time.
but
Yeah.
inspired me to go back to school and like re-educate myself and get into an entire another field.
Yeah.
Now, the child care side of things again was inspired by the fact that I've always needed child care because I had kids at a very young age. However, with that being said, I would they weren't always treated fairly. Like I would hear
Yeah.
stories of my son saying, "Hey, mom, that lady pulled my ear way too hard," or
Mm.
she
Yeah.
with a cooking spoon, or it was just
Yeah.
something, or some things that were not acceptable. And
Yeah. I
of
get it.
course, we would have those conversations, but it was just not acceptable. And some people really just shouldn't work with kids. That's just the way that I feel.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah. I have two children. My oldest is actually going to be 29 here in August, and then I have a 9-year-old. My boys are 20 years
What?
apart. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. um, so
Oh,
yeah. But I remember, my oldest growing up and having incidences in childcare, and my youngest, starting all over again with this childcare thing, and having to, go in and talk to people and let them know, like, you picked the wrong one, like, don't
okay.
do it.
Listen.
um, and so, yeah, I get it. I get it. So, I imagine, is that kind of what triggered you, or what kind of moved you into the area of wanting to get behind the scenes and kind of make a difference in that area? Yeah,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
amazing.
So that was the initial push. Okay, so it was like I entered into childcare, and then I was like, oh, I want to
Yeah,
be a school teacher. Then I'm like, I don't want to be in a classroom all day, and that's what allowed the trend, or I would say um, motivated me to move into another field, and that's what like inspired the whole um, psychology and sociology, because I'm like, well,
okay,
I love people. I just want to help
right,
people,
yeah,
and you know, I've 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 just always wanted to help people, but it was just more so
yeah,
like children. I mean, seeing some of or hearing and understanding some of the things that my kids went through in childcare, and
yeah,
then understanding that many kids are silenced. They don't really
mm,
have a voice.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost as if their feelings don't matter, and they're like you said with young
ooh,
men,
yeah,
first because they're
yeah,
taught to express it, and like you're not supposed to cry, and you're like almost as if they're not supposed to have emotions or
exist.
feelings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what
Listen,
inspired me.
that that pulls my heartstrings as well. A lot of my trauma was childhood trauma, and so I have a soft spot for kids, and
Same.
kid issues, kid concerns. I'm actually, as you saw the promotion a few minutes ago, myself and my co-author Rodriguez Underwood, we actually are in the process of writing a book right now called Innocence Taken. And
Wow.
that book deals with all forms of abuse that happen to children. And you were just in my book, because in the book we talk about how their voice was taken,
Mm-hmm.
not just their bodies, not just their minds, but their voices were taken.
Mm-hmm.
And they were made to feel they didn't have choices. So I just had to say that, because as you were speaking, you literally hit some lines that are in the book, and it's true. Just the fact that you said that was like confirmation, like this project is on track, because you literally just said how when these things happen to kids, even we're talking about the daycare, but you know I emphasize a lot in our culture, in our homes, those phrases of what happens in this house stays in this house. Well, in the
Mm,
same way, when our kids go to these daycares, these facilities, and these schools, there's threats that are made, or things that happen to where the children feel like they cannot be vocal. And so I'm real big on kids having a voice. Very big on that, because usually you can find out a lot when you really listen. You know,
And
kids are so
oftentimes,
nice and friendly.
hmm
And when kids don't like somebody, when kids don't want to give such and such a hug, when kids don't want to be near people, we have to get to the point that we start paying attention. You know, whether it's a daycare worker, a uncle, a aunt, a best friend, a cousin, father, mother, it doesn't matter. You know, we have to pay attention to those things. So I salute you again for taking that initiative to go into not only providing childcare in that sense, but also going further for psychology and for social work, because we have to have people to stand in the gap. There has to be somebody, you know, to stand in the gap for kids and be an advocate. And so, you know, like I said, I love it. I love what you're doing. Continue to do that and be a light. Let your light shine.
thank you. And Miss
Um,
Stephanie, go ahead.
yes.
I was
No, go
just
ahead.
gonna say, like, um, I'm in fact I am excuse me, the Keller ISD district. And last week alone there
Okay.
were three suicides. And one was by a senior in high school, one was by a junior in high school, and one was by a fifth grader. And so
Jesus.
I'm not, yes, 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 yes. And I'm not
This
gonna
is
tell
real.
you
This is real. We have to
I
get to the point, and I say we, I mean universally, we have to
yes,
get to a point that we talk to our kids. And that
yes,
means literally sitting down with them on their level, asking them, how was your day? What
yeah,
happened today? What didn't
yeah.
happen? How did you feel?
Oh,
You know, people say, well, you need to be disciplined. And okay, yeah, there's a time for discipline. But when kids
mhm.
are going through something, before we jump to conclusions, if your kid gets in trouble at school for fighting or for whatever, find out why they were fighting. Find out what they were, you know, what the conversation was about. Find out if their back was against the wall. How many other kids were involved? Was it just them, or was it like 10 against one? Like, we just got to get to the point to where we start asking more questions, you know,
And
and
listen,
listening.
actively
Listening.
listen. Like, oftentimes
Yeah.
kids are gonna tell you through behaviors. If their behaviors are changing,
Yeah.
that means that they're going through something. And
Something's
we
going on. Yeah.
immediately, especially in the African American community, we are
Mhm.
um, like, what's your problem? Like, it's all their problem. And it's like, they're
And it's
kids.
not. It's
They're
not.
kids.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. We have to take responsibility for what did
yeah,
we do to contribute, especially dysfunctional families. When kids start acting out and parents have been fighting, screaming, doing all these things, drinking, sexing, smoking, all these things, and then things happen with the kids. And the first thing is, what's wrong with you? No, what's wrong with you?
you.
Because you
Okay.
did these things in front of the children. Now you want to know why they've all lost their minds. Well, maybe because they saw you lose yours for the last 15 years. And the
Okay.
difference
And
is you're not giving them grace, but they still loved you, they still honored you, they still covered for you. And so, yeah, I'm a big advocate when it comes to kids. Listen, I'm a big, I used to be, I started out in ministry as a children's pastor.
wow.
And listen, uh, that role was very, it was heavy. It was
Oh,
heavy
okay.
because well, actually, I the first ministry that I did was actually teen ministry, actually, and I was a teenager myself, but the first teen ministry that I did was teen ministry. Then I went into children's ministry, and paying attention to the kids, seeing their personalities change, letting me know something's going on, being able to partner with those parents and say, hey, you know, such and such is acting different. What's going on here? Let's, you know, and I think because the Lord knew that I had been through some things in my childhood, my
Yes,
eyes were more open.
you were
Yeah.
ordained. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was able to really see the changes in the moods, the behaviors, physical changes, and things that were going on that maybe the parents weren't really paying attention to. I would watch the parents come pick the kids up, how the child would respond to the adult that would pick
Wow.
them up. And
Mm-hmm.
if someone different picked the child up, I would watch how the child responded to them. And if they didn't respond in a way that it made me feel discern something in that, I would talk to the parent and I would say, who's this new person? I'm just kind of asking because I noticed. And I thank God that I was able to stand in that gap.
Yes,
I was able to stand in that gap. And so love kids, big child advocate. I think it's amazing that you've written your books and you've done this life work in this area, and I think it's a blessing that your characters are going to go on and have more series and more adventures. I actually have two children's books out. I actually wrote two books to my youngest son. The first one is called Isaiah Learns to Donate. I'm really big on teaching my kids to, think about less fortunate. And so, they've been very blessed to be able to not really be in need of anything. And so I have this rule, and I started it with my oldest son because they both had their own childhood separately with these 20-year gap. So, in order to get new toys, in order to get new things, we have to donate. And
awesome.
so I started with my oldest son. In order for him to get new toys for Christmas, for birthdays, or whatever, you're going to get a big trash bag and you got to fill it up. Because the
Oh,
reality of it is, you can't have so much stuff that you don't even touch it. We don't even, we do nothing with it. And so I started it way back with Chris, and then we would go together to donate it to Salvation Army or wherever we're going to donate it. And so when 20 years later, I thought, okay, I'm going to do that again with Isaiah. Now with Isaiah, I kind of have to pull him back because he'll give away everything. Isaiah, and he will, bless his little heart. He will give away toys he's never even opened. He's never,
wow.
it can be his favorite thing, and he'll give it away. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And I have
But
to tell the friends when I hear him talking,
that
huh?
speaks to his character. That speaks to his character. He's willing to give something that he hasn't even
Yeah, yeah, but I
enjoyed.
have to stop him because the thing is, at this age with him doing that, see, there's people called users and takers. And so the little users and takers know that if they come over and want something, they can get it. And
Oh,
so so I have to kind of be like, no, no, no.
yeah,
Put
yeah.
that back and you go towards the door.
God.
So
You
yeah,
have to set the
but
tone. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I told him, we give and you give and you share, but baby, no, 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 you're going too far. You don't buy friends. And if somebody won't be your friend because you won't give them something that you have, then they're not a friend. And
That's
nobody's gonna come over here shopping your toys. Like, we don't do that, you know.
yeah.
And then the other book is called The Adventures of Isaiah, because listen, he is a whole
Lord.
adventure on his own. Listen, he keeps me on my toes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about writing another one or two children's books. I want to write a couple to my oldest son as well. Because these are things that will live on. We're creating something that's generational, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Having the blessing of to be able to create these books for our kids, and it will go on for generations. 5 generations down the road, my grand great 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 greats will be like, Stephanie M. Seaton, my great great 5-time grandma, wrote this book about my 4-time, uncle, whatever. And that's just things that we can do. And so I find it a blessing. I have writing has become my passion, Tashonda. It's a passion. And I thank God for the gift. And I love the ability to tell the character stories. um
Yes.
it's nothing like it. It's therapeutic. And so I know We touched on the fact of all the things that you went through and how you kind of had that tough time there for a while. But I thank God for the smile you have on your face, and the Lord turning that thing around and giving you joy. And now he's giving you the ability to be able to talk to and minister and encourage other people. We're getting ready to close here, but I'd like for you to have a closing thought. What do you say to the person that's struggling? Maybe the person that's struggling with grief and loss, and maybe they were where we were at one point, wanting to check out, wanting to give up. And we're here today to tell them, what can you say to them to let them know that there is light at the end of the tunnel? What do you say?
I'd say that you matter,
Yeah.
and your story will help someone. So please don't give up.
Yeah.
We need you. Tomorrow needs you. Um, Again, even with, I just want to go back a little bit with the child care.
Okay.
Like you said,
Yeah.
that burden it's heavy. It's a heavy load.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, if not me, then who? If not
Oh,
you,
yeah.
then who? So it's
Yeah.
like, please don't give up. Please don't get, like, tomorrow
Yeah.
needs you.
Yeah.
I'd say, um, your story will inspire someone to keep moving forward,
Yeah.
and that's what
And that's what
that's.
it's about. We're all here to help each other, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. To
Hmm.
push each other, pull each other, whatever we got to do, to encourage each other to keep going. It
Hmm.
has been so nice, Mr. Shonda, interviewing you today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on. Um, I admire you, and thank you so much again. She has her book as well as the two journals. They are available on Amazon.com. It's going to be Amazon. Is yours Amazon.com/Arthur and then slash your name?
No, it's gonna be The Adventures of Poppy, Millie, and Chico. So it's
Okay, the
Amazon.
title of the book. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Amazon.com, The Adventures of, say the name of the book again.
Poppy, Millie, and Chico.
Poppy, Millie, and Chico. Very
And
good. And the three characters take on the personality of her three children. And then she's also got the Illuminate as well as the self-care journal. So thank you, Mr. Shonda, so much for being here tonight. We're going to get ready to close out. If you will stay right there for just a moment, we're going to get ready to close out. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Our new schedule are Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. We will have another amazing interview on Thursday night. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to have Pastor Latoya from here in the Tyler area will be interviewed. And so I know it will be a big following. She's doing amazing things in the city of Tyler. And so thank you, thank you, thank you again, Mr. Shonda. Hold on, okay?
thank you, beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
embracing me. You're a light. You keep moving forward, girl. Like, you're amazing. You have no clue what you're doing,
Thank you.
and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold tight, okay?
I
All
will.
right, and here we go.
If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.